In 1 Timothy 6, the Apostle Paul says, "Hey Timothy, tell those who are rich not to become arrogant." And that raises a very important question. What is rich? And the answer is rich is a moving target. What you thought was rich years ago may not be rich today. For example, 32 years ago when I began serving as a pastor, I made the grand total of $9,100 a year. I had a friend who made over $40,000 a year, and I thought that guy is really rich. I distinctly remember telling my wife, if we could ever make $40,000 a year, we'd be rich. We'd never need anything more as long as we live. We'd just be rich. And then we had a couple kids, and what happened? Rich moved, because rich is a moving target. Gallup did an interesting survey, and he wanted to find out what Americans thought they would need to make a year to be rich. When he asked people making $30,000 a year or less, how much would you need to make a year to be rich? The average answer was $74,000 a year. If we could just make this much a year, then we would be rich. And yet some of you make $74,000 a year and you don't feel rich at all. And yet those who make $30,000 a year look at you and say you're rich, but you don't feel rich, because rich is a moving target. He asked people making around $50,000 a year, how much would you need a year to feel rich? And the most common response was $100,000 a year. A lot of you might have a combined household income of $100,000 a year. And you might say, I've got news for you. That's not rich. With taxes and a mortgage and kids in college and braces and activities and car insurance, $100,000 a year doesn't go very far. They look at you and say, you're rich, but you would say, I don't feel rich. Why? Because rich is a moving target. Someone did a study of the top income earners in our country to find out how much they would need in assets to feel rich. And the most common response was, if we had $5 million in assets, we'd be rich. And our response is, well, I guess so. So you could ask the guy who has only $2 million, are you rich? He would say, no, I'm not rich. If I had more, I would feel rich. Why? Because rich is a moving target. The challenge is if we don't feel rich, then we'll never learn how to act rich. So we'll continue to try to get rich. And you won't recognize that you are already rich. So you will never learn how to be rich. In this series, we're going to learn how to be rich.